Hello, 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 my brothers and sisters. How are you doing this beautiful night? Welcome to the dinner table. Your brother Tony have prepared a good meal for you that's good for the soul. You know, I have some good soul food for you, brothers and sisters. Come on in and sit down and get ready to feast. Also, invite some more family members and friends because we have plenty of good food for the soul. Also, my brothers and sisters, go ahead and invite some more family members and friends so they can get a part of this good feast that we always cooking up. If this is your first time at the dinner table, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tony M. Toomer, and I talk about relationships. I talk about relationships from a spiritual point of view. When I talk about a spiritual point of view, I believe strongly, and this is my position, I believe God had a unique relationship with the man first. Secondly, I believe that God had a unique relationship with the woman. Secondly, third, God represented the woman to the man, that man being Adam and the woman being Eve. When God represented the woman to the man Adam said in the presence of God, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, I shall call a woman because she came from man. That's the position where I come from. Now, if you believe in a relationship other than what I just described, you have what is called a free will. You can do whatever you choose to do. But I talk about a relationship basically from a biblical point of view. So keep in mind, I talk about a relationship from a biblical point of view. So come on in, brothers. Come on in, sisters. We're about to get into this good topic tonight. When you look at the menu, my brothers, when you look at the menu, my sisters, what's on the menu for tonight? What leads men and women to cheating in a relationship? Again, what leads men and women into cheating in a relationship? I'm on two different platforms this evening. I'm on the tube and I'm on the book. If you're on the book, I may make some comment to those on the tube. You won't see it, but I'm going to call their names out. And vice versa, those of you on the tube, I may make some comment to those that are on the book. You may not see their comments, but I'm going to call it their name and I'm going to share what they put down here because we family here, my brother and sister. This particular, when we come to the dinner table, my brother and sister, we have an open platform. We're very transparent on this platform. If you have anything to say to the other brothers or sisters, or you want to direct something to me, this is where we at. We're at the dinner table. So I would like for you, brothers and sisters, to share your thoughts as we talk at the dinner table, okay? With that said, now what really, my brothers, and what really, my sister, causes a man or woman to cheat in their relationship? That's the question for tonight. What really causes a man or woman to decide to cheat in a relationship? There are several reasons, my brothers and sisters, that I could come up with, but are those reasons justified? How you doing, Sister Cynthia? Welcome to the dinner table. Are those reasons? Is there any time where it's justified to cheat in a relationship? Now, there are some men, and then there are some women say, "Look, I cheated because my mate cheated, so therefore we're gonna even this playing field. So if we even this playing field, I could do the same thing too. If he or she did not respect the relationship, I don't respect it either. So some people they play get back when it comes to cheating in a relationship, my brother and sister. Now, when it comes to cheating in a relationship, my brother and sister, most men and most women look at cheating as physical intimacy with someone other than his or her mate. Now, this is the position we're going to come from this evening at the dinner table when it comes to cheating. When it comes to cheating in a relationship, first, let's come from God's viewpoint. And I have said it before, my brothers. I have said it before, my sister. When God looked at a relationship, not man or woman, but when God looks at a relationship, my brother and sister, when he look at a man and a woman in a relationship, what does God deem a relationship? Does God deem a relationship a girlfriend or a boyfriend? Does God deem a relationship between a man and woman that they are living together? Does God deem a relationship with a man or woman friends with benefits? Now, when God view a relationship, my brother and sister, God look at a relationship between a man and a woman. That man and a woman, they have became serious. They have became committed, and they moving towards the covenant relationship, meaning that that man or woman, they have entered in what is called an engagement with a date, not just an engagement and leave it open. They have moved towards position a relationship where they're engaged, which means they are exclusive to one another, which lead that man and woman to get married, or that man and woman, they could bypass the engagement period and go ahead and get married. So God really views a relationship when it comes to cheating, when that man and woman decides to enter into a relationship where the man, he forsake other women, and the woman, she forsake other men, where about to become one, especially in the period of being engaged and truly when they are married. So that's the position where we're coming from this evening on this particular topic, my brothers and my sisters. Now, back to what I was saying, is there any time a reason to justify cheating? My brother and sister, there's never a time in a relationship to justify cheating in a relationship. Now, there are different forms of cheating. Now, the position where we're coming from this evening is from God's perspective. Because God, if a man and a woman, if they're not engaged, listen to what I'm saying. What I'm about to say, some people will not agree with it. But if you look at it from God's position, you'll see what I'm talking about. If a man and woman is not engaged, is a man or a woman are not married, that man and that woman, how you doing, Sister Tierra? That man and that woman, from God's perspective, you're not in a bona fide relationship where you could say you are in a committed relationship. I'm going to say this again. I know some people are going to disagree with me, but if you see it from God's point of view, remember I said God's point of view when it comes to a relationship between a man and woman, that man and that woman, and I'm stressing this for a particular reason. God look at a man and woman, are you engaged or you're not engaged? That's how God see it. And if you are engaged, what that date is, and are you about to get married? Or have you gone ahead and gotten married? Other than that, God does not view a relationship between a man and a woman as being one. There's nowhere in God's word where he endorsed a relationship other than what I just said. Now, if you agree with God's position, you can see where I'm going with from this perspective. How you doing, Sister Tia? Welcome to the dinner table. Now, we're going to go to the appetizer at the dinner table. As it is written in the book of James, chapter 1, 14 through 15. That's James chapter 1, 14 through 16. When it comes to cheating, my brothers and sisters, there's this thing that's called temptation and being tempted. From James' point of view, when he wrote this in God's word, he said, but every man is tempted when he is drawn away by his own lust and enticed. Now listen to what James said. You could be tempted in all ways, and one form of temptation is when a man and woman are supposed to be in a bona fide relationship, justified before God, okay? Every man is tempted. That don't only mean a male, it also means a female, okay? Every man is tempted when he's drawn away by what? His own lust and enticed. So there's an element to being tempted. You got to be lust. It has to be lust, and you have to be enticed. Also, as it is written, my brothers and sisters, in 1 John 2:16. Again, it's 1 John 2:16. 1 John 2:16. It said, for everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, The lust of the eyes and the pride of life come not from the Father, but from the world. Okay, so listen to what it said, the lust of the flesh. It doesn't come from God, but it comes from the world. That's why I keep stressing how God view a relationship. Now, from the world standpoint, lust is not really no big thing, but from God's viewpoint, lust is a very bad thing. Then it also say, for everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, the pride of life come not from the Father, but from the world. Then when lust have conceited, it brings forth sin. And sin, when it finished, bring forth death. Also, in the book of Proverbs 27:8, Proverbs 27:8, Proverbs 27:8, it said, a person who strays from home is like a bird that strays from its nest. It's a person that could be a male or a female. In Proverbs 27:8, it says a person who strays from home is like a bird that strays from its nest. Now, there are 4 definitions that I need to go over, my brother and sister, so we can get a kind of feel where we're going with this topic tonight that's on the dinner table. Now, when we look in the dictionary, what is the word lust defined as? The word lust, my brother and sister, is defined as a psychological force producing intense desire for something or someone, while already having a significant amount of the desired object. How you doing, Sister Desha Marie? How you doing? I hope I pronounced your first part of your name right, or Sister Marie. Again, the word lust is defined as a psychological force. What do you mean by psychological? It takes place in your mind, and it produces an intense desire for something or someone, while already having a significant amount of the desired object. That means that you already have something, my brother and sister, but you desiring something else. Okay, that's what it means. Now, the word entice, when we look in the dictionary, the word entice is defined as to persuade someone to do something by offering them something that's pleasurable. That's how you get enticed. You are offered something that seems to be pleasurable. And another key component tonight, my brother and sister, is called an empty void. Again, an empty void. That's right, Sister Marie. Lust is a desire for the body, the physical. That's part of, that's correct, sister. Now, an empty void is a feeling of unhappiness because of someone or something. Listen to what it says. An empty void is a feeling of unhappiness because someone or something. Now, my brother and sister, listen to what I'm about to say. There's no man, sister, and there's no brother, and there's no woman that can make you happy. If you are about to enter into a relationship, let's get this clear, brother, no woman can make you happy. Sister, no man can make you happy. You cannot put the weight of another person on making you happy, because you imperfect, brother, and you imperfect, sister. So therefore, you can't demand a man or woman to make you happy. A man and a woman, my brother and sister, in the right type of relationship can add to your happiness, but they can't make you happy. So that's a misconception when it comes to a relationship, looking for someone to make you happy. Now, if that man or that woman doesn't make you happy, it's going to lead to what is called that empty void. It's a feeling of unhappiness. When a man or woman gets unhappy in a situation, especially when that man and woman is in a serious, committed, and covenant relationship, and they are delusion and they're unhappy, that more likely lead to something. Sister Marie said, you got to make your own self happy, fill your own cup up so you won't be drained or codependent. Amen to that. You have to do something to make your own self happy, my brother and sister. Let me tell you something, my brother and sister, and this is what all men and women need to know, whether they're in a relationship or not, especially since I'm talking about a relationship between a man and woman. Brother and sister, you could rejoice, and you supposed to delight in the Lord. That's what called, if you delight in the Lord, my brother and sister. I know some of you ready for me to get to the main meal. I'm going to get there because still doing the we're still on the appetizer, okay? My brother and sister, when it comes to the Lord is the only one that could fill that empty void on the inside, my brother and sister. So once you understand that the Lord is the only one that could fulfill that empty void on the inside, you can coexist, brother, with a good woman. And sister, you can coexist with a good man. But a lot of times, a man and a woman, they have an empty void. Something is missing a lot of time in the relationship. There's something that is missing in the relationship that causes a man or a woman, as it says in Proverbs 27:8, a person who strays away from home is like a bird that strays away from the nest. Now, I know this. I got a question, my brother, and I got a question, my sister. Listen to this question. Who do you think cheat the most in a relationship? Do you think a man cheat the most in a serious, committed, and covenant relationship, or do you think a woman cheat the most in a relationship? What do you think, my brother and sister? What gender do you think go step on the outside against his or her mate? Do you think a man cheats the most or a woman cheats the most? What do you think? I want you to just give me your thoughts, my brother and sister. Who do you think cheat the most in a relationship, the man or the woman? What do you think? Tell me what you think tonight, my brother and sister. What do you think? Do you think that man cheat or that woman cheat in a relationship? I got the answer for you. I have done some research, my brother and sister, and I got the answer for you. What do you think, sister and brother? Who cheat the most in a relationship? I got the answer for you. I want to know your thoughts on it. But while you contemplating on who cheat the most in a relationship, let's get to what leads a man or woman to cheat in a relationship. When a man and a woman is in a committed relationship, that means that man and woman is serious. That means that man and woman has committed to one another, and they're supposed to have forsaken other people, and they're supposed to have an exclusive relationship. And they are in, and then it moves to a covenant relationship. That's the position I come from. This man and this woman is in a covenant relationship. Now, what leads a man and a woman to cheating? It's that empty void first, and it's the being delusional. It's where that man or that woman, they become displeased in an area of his or her relationship with their mate. It comes from being discontent. It comes from being displeased, and it comes from a whole bunch of negative things. And like I said, another thing, a man and woman, they looking for another person to make him or her happy, but it doesn't exist. So what happens when a man and woman is discontented? What happens when a man and woman is disappointed? What happens when a man and woman, they don't reach one another expectation? What happens? Something is missing. And then there are 7 things that happen that leads to a man and a woman stepping out of the relationship. Number 1, this is the steps that normally take place. Number 1, they stop talking. And as we know, my brother and sister, communication is an important part of a relationship. But communication is not the most important thing in a relationship. In order for a man and a woman to have good communication, remember, communication is verbal communication and non-verbal communication. A man and a woman, I got to bring the Lord back in it. A man and a woman must have a an intense relationship with God's son Jesus. In order for a man and woman to be able to communicate effectively with a member of the opposite sex, because you got to understand it, my brother and sister, God is the one that created what is called a relationship. So therefore, God has the blueprint and the plan on a relationship. He has the blueprint of what the man's supposed to do in a relationship, and he also had the blueprint of what a woman's supposed to do in a relationship. So if a man or a woman or both of them do not have an intense relationship with the Lord, or they're one with the Lord, their relationship going to become unbalanced. And when a man and woman relationship become unbalanced, this is what's going to happen. They're going to stop talking. And you talk verbally and you talk non-verbally. See, verbally is the words that come out of a man and woman's mouth. And the words that come out of man and woman's mouth is formulated in the mind and the heart. Whatever the mouth say, it's already in the mind and the heart, okay? So if a man and woman refrain from verbally talking to one another, that's verbal. And then non-verbal, they stop touching one another. So not only is that man and woman not communicating verbally, that man and woman is not communicating non-verbally, which is touching, because my brothers and sisters, communication, that's why when you get a full message from a man or a woman that you're in a relationship with, when you're in front of that man in a relationship, the complete cycle of a communication is when you standing in front of that man or that woman, you listen to what he or she say, and you watching the body language. But if a man or woman is not in tune with one another, they're going to stop talking. And when a man and woman stop talking and communicating verbal and nonverbal, he or she start guessing what the other person is thinking about. And then they start playing these mental games. Who's going to make the first move to communicate? That's what started happening. Start playing games. And then it started getting hostile. When a man and woman start communicating with one another, the home become like it becomes cold. When that man and woman really into one another, they're communicating, the home is warm. When a man and woman stop communication, the environment becomes cold. And when a man and woman stops communicating, this leads to they start spending time together. Because if they're not communicating, why are they going to spend time together? Are they going to spend time together without communicating? No, they're not going to do it. So when they stop talking, then they're going to start spending time together. That man or that woman, they're going to start finding other people to be with, and their hobbies or whatever, it's going to take over the relationship that they once treasured together. As you know, my brother and sister, when it comes to a relationship, it's all about priority. When a man and a woman is in a relationship, as I always say, my brother and sister, it's always about priority. That man and woman, they must have a unique and individual relationship with the Lord first. And if that man and when that man and woman is married, no one comes before their relationship but Jesus. No one else or nothing. Understand? But if that man and woman is not talking to the Lord, they're not going to really talk to one another because they don't know how. You need the Lord to teach you how to talk with another person. So if you don't spend the time with the Lord, if you don't value that and set the other side, you're not going to really value or set aside spending time with your mate. So it's becoming more and more dysfunctional. So when a man and woman start talking to one another, they're going to start spending time with one another. And when they stop talking and spending time with one another, they're going to start affecting them physically. Physically intimacy. What am I talking about? Physically intimacy. That man and that woman, they're going to stop. Let's talk about. They're going to stop having sex. And let me tell you this, my brother and sister. I do a lot of consultation, right? And one of the biggest problems in a relationship that I listen to a lot of men and women, it comes to the lack of physical intimacy. And guess what? There are more sisters that have this problem because most sisters saying that their husband don't want to touch them. Now I have some brother that say the same thing, that my wife don't want me to touch her physically, but there are more women that saying that their husband don't want to touch them, and most of the time they think that their husband is impotent. But I have to educate a lot of sisters. A lot of time the men aren't impotent physically. It could be something that's going on in their minds, what they think about their spouse. So if a man has a problem with his spouse, a lot of time that affect his libido. Just like this too. If a woman have a problem with her husband, a lot of time that affect her too, where she don't want to be intimate with the man. So now you don't have no one talking, no one communicating. You have where they don't want to spend time together. And then it goes to they don't want to be physically intimate with one another. And the next thing what happen is number 4, they start getting bored. Now, this is the dangerous point in a relationship, when a man and woman start getting bored with one another. So when a man and woman is becoming bored with one another, that leads to this thing where they discover that they have an empty void. Now, what is an empty void? An empty void is a feeling of unhappiness because of someone or something. So in this case, the empty void is unhappiness with the woman in the man's life, or the man that's in the woman's life. So they become unhappy, so they become bored. So they want to find something to fill their time together, right? So number 5, they start trying to fill that empty void. So once a man and a woman get to the point where they're bored with one another, they're going to try to find something to fill that empty void. And more so when a man and woman start trying to fill that empty void, that's when other people come into the relationship. That's what happened. And I mean, I have seen it so many times, my brothers and sisters, that empty void, that man trying to find something to fill. He trying to find someone to talk to. He trying to find someone to spend his time with. He thinking about he need his physical need met. That woman, she wants someone to talk to. She wants someone to spend her time with. She wants someone to be physically intimate, which leads to boredness. Now, let me tell you this, my brother and sister. Sex, there's nothing wrong with sex. Sex is a beautiful thing. Sex is a powerful thing. God created sex, my brother and sister, as long as you do it the way that he wants it done. You see, when God created sex, my brother and sister, he created sex for a man and a woman that is married. The world look at sex as do whatever you feel with whomever you feel. That's from the world standpoint. But from God's viewpoint, God only wants sex to be in the confinement of the marriage. You understand? So when a man and woman start getting bored, now they start, number 5, they start trying to fill that mental void. That's when a man and woman become open to outside forces, okay? And remember what the Bible made a statement. When you look at Corinthians, Paul had to address this problem where a man or a woman, they get to the point where they don't want to be physically intimate with one another. You know what Paul said in Corinthians? Paul basically said that a woman cannot deny her husband because her body is her husband's body. And it also goes to say that a man cannot defraud his wife because his body is his wife's body. In order for Paul to correct that with the Corinthians, that means that problem was going on way back then when Paul was alive, Apostle Paul. So it still happens today. There are a lot of men and women that they don't want to be physically intimate with someone. And when you don't be physically intimate with your husband or wife, brothers and sisters, the Bible clearly say that Satan can get into the mix because your inconsistency. So when you become inconsistent, my brother and sister, you are opening up a door to Satan. Satan know what you are craving for, brothers. Satan know what you craving for, sisters. So Satan, and you don't see it. You don't see him. But then, brother, you're gonna start looking at other women. And I'm talking to Christian brothers and Christian women. I'm not talking to the world. Most of the time, when I talk to you brothers and sisters, I'm talking to Christians, because Christians have a problem with this too. With the world, the world is already out there. So I'm talking to you brothers and sisters. Yes, Christians. I am talking about Christian men and women. What leads men and women to cheat in a relationship? Yes, Christian men and Christian women do cheat in a relationship. Not all, but there are some. I know a lot of people right now, they don't want to talk about Christian cheat in a relationship, but there are some Christian brothers that do cheat against their wives, and then there are some Christian women that does cheat against their Christian husband, and they're just a fact. It's just a fact, my brother and sister. So what happened? That man or woman, number 6, they start communicating with someone else. So what that man and woman start lacking in their spouse, they start talking to this other man or woman. And when they start talking to this man or woman, they start saying, I wish, in their mind, I wish my husband and my wife, we could talk like this. We used to talk like this, but we don't talk like this no more. So this other man or woman, that they start feeling that missing void with the man and the woman that's married. They think that they're missing. So this outside man, he started communicating with this woman that's married, and she liked the conversation. She really started getting into the conversation. And the man, he started getting into a conversation with woman, so he started liking the conversation. So the man and woman, the husband and wife, they talking to someone else, or one of them talking to someone else because of the missing void. So they start having good communication with someone else. Then guess what happened? Since they're not spending time with their mate, they start spending time with this new person, what they label as quote unquote a friend. I got this friend. I got this friend. So this man starts spending more time with this outside woman. And this woman, she starts spending more time with this outside man. Both of them could be doing it at the same time, or one could be doing it. A lot of time, my brother and sister, this is shocking. It might be shocking to a lot of you brothers and sisters. But when it comes to Christian men and women, a lot of times, sometimes there's a Christian man that's doing exactly what I'm saying, and it could be a Christian woman, and they're married, but they're seeing other people outside their relationship. Other people on the outside, they don't see it. But a lot of times, some people do see it, but they're not saying nothing. It's just like this. Don't say nothing. So this man and woman, they are talking to another person. They're spending time with another person. You know what's eventually going to happen? Since they feeling that their empty void is somewhat, again, their cup is being filled, they start feeling a sense of being happy. In their minds, they're thinking that this other person is filling the void that my husband is not feeling, or my wife is not feeling. So they start feeling happy. So they start feeling codependent on another person outside their husband or their wife. So they start getting codependent on this other man or this other woman, which leads to physical intimacy. So when this man and this woman start being physical intimate with another man or a woman, the problem is about to get real wide open. Because don't you know, my brother, and don't you know, my sister, anytime, when you look at it from God's point of view, anytime you are physically intimate, brother, with a woman, sister, anytime you're physically intimate with a man, you become one with that man. Yes, brother, you're married to your wife. Yes, sister, you're married to your husband. But once you be physically intimate with another man or another woman, brother, that woman is just like your wife. Sister, that man just like your husband. From God's point of view. Now you have gotten hooked up with someone else. That's what happened. You done got hooked up with someone else. And you think that you was bored. Now, a lot of time, my brother and sister, when you start getting hooked up with other people, you start looking at that man or woman. You want that man, that outside man or woman, to start being faithful to you. That's delusional. How is it, my brother, that you a married man, brother, and what make you think that an outside woman owe you loyalty? Sister, what make you think that an outside man owes you loyalty? That outside man, sister, do not owe you no loyalty. Brother, that outside woman does not owe you no loyalty. And that's where things get twisted. You start getting to your feelings, you being codependent, and you start talking about that other man, sister, that's your man, but you got a husband. And sister, brother, you start talking about this other woman, your woman, because you start paying her a house note and getting her and paying her bills and all that kind of stuff. So your mind become warped, brothers. Sister, your feelings become warped because you are confusing something that's not of God to fill an empty void. So you have started communicating with another man or woman, my married brothers and sisters. You have started spending time with them. You have started being physically intimate with them. So you think that you're not bored no more, right? So when you go back home, my brother and sister, and you see your mate, you get to the point where you don't care what he or she does. That's when in a home, it's not a home no more. It's just a house. It's a structure, whatever you live in. And that's when a lot of men and women, if they don't leave their homes, they will go sleep in another room. The man may move into another bedroom. The woman may go into another bedroom. Now they become what is called roommates. And when that man and woman become roommates, they have sometimes they get to the point where if you don't ask me nothing, I won't say nothing. You do you, and I do me. Long as it doesn't come to my attention. There's a lot of couples like that, my brother, sister, Christian couples too. That the man, he doing his thing, and the woman doing her thing. But they call it a respect thing. Long as I don't know about it, that's what their mind's saying. I may sense that you're doing something, but long as I don't know about it. But don't you know, my brother, don't you know, my sister, when if you are Christian, this thing gonna come over you, and you going to know that your mate is seeing somebody else. Because you have, my brother and sister, what is called discernment, even though you might not be doing it at this time. Sister, if your husband is out there doing something, you're Christian, and he's a Christian, you're a Christian. If he's doing something, your discernment is going to kick in. You might not can see him doing it, but your discernment going to let you know he's doing what he really doing. And the same thing, brother, your discernment, if you're not doing nothing, it's going to be on high alert, and they're going to you know that your wife is doing something. Because every man and every woman have what is called pattern and behavior. You understand? Every man and every woman have what is called pattern behavior. There's no way you could continue to do something wrong, my brother and sister, and think that your mate will not be able to pick up on it. It's all about math, my brother and sister. 1 + 1 always equal 2. It never equal 3. When you was in class in school, my brother and sister, if you had a math test and you put 1 + 1, it always equal 2. But if you would have put 3 down, you would have got it would have got marked wrong. And no matter how much you fuss with your teacher, she or he gonna say 1 + 1 equal 2. It never equal 3. So when it comes to relationship, my brother and sister, your mind is going to tell you whether 1 + 1 equal 2 when it comes to your mate, because you know your mate pattern and behavior. No man or no woman can continue to do something contrary to God's will, especially if that man and woman is in a bona fide relationship, serious, committed, and covenant relationship without their mate being able to pick up on something. But it's dangerous, my brother and my sister, when both of you are doing something and then you become roommates. There are some men and women right now, my brother and sister, they are roommates. They sleeping in another room and they talk only when necessary. Because that man, he got his life with this other woman out there. And this woman, she got her life with this other man. And it get to the point sometimes, my brother and sister, that when it becomes so much disrespectful where the man starts spending nights away from the home. And the woman, she might start spending nights away from home, but more than likely, the woman may come up with something like, I'm finna go on a girl trip. She ain't been going on no girl trip. And the man might be saying stuff like, I'm finna go hang out with the guy, we're gonna go hunting. So what they're doing, the man is not really going on a hunting trip with his guy friend. He's going somewhere with a woman, vacation with a woman. And the woman, she's not really going on a girl trip with her girl. She's going on a little trip of a vacation or whatever with another man. But they lying to one another. So a man and a woman that gets to the point when they're cheating, it comes to lying and covering up. Because when you start cheating, that's a form of deception. And what's a form of deception? They start lying to one another. So it moves to the position of number 7. And that's because this man and this woman, how did they get to this point? The man and woman got to this point because they had what is called unrealistic expectations in the relationship. From the beginning of the relationship, that man and that woman, they thought that another man or another woman could make them happy. As I said earlier, no man, sister, brother, no woman can make you happy. They can only add to your happiness. Real happiness is your relationship with the Lord Jesus. Jesus is the only one, my brother and sister, that can fill that empty void. Once that empty void is filled with Jesus, my brother and sister, and brother, when God causes you to find a wife, you found a good thing and you obtained favor from the Lord. Sister, when God called a good man to find you, you were ready to be that Proverbs 31 wife. The Lord put you together. So, and the thing about it, my brother and sister, you got to understand this too when it comes to unrealistic expectation. Just because God bring you together, brother and sister, he doesn't make you stay together. God does not make a man and woman stay together. Even though he could bring you together, he does not make you stay together. When it comes to a relationship, my brother and sister, it is called work. Marriage is not a fantasy. Some people, they just look forward to the festivities of the wedding day. They don't look past the wedding day. They get all excited to get engaged. They get all excited planning the wedding. They get all excited leading up to the wedding. They get all excited when they walking in front of someone to say, I do. They get all excited when it comes to the honeymoon. But when the honeymoon is over, they forgot. Now it's work. Marriage, my brother, and marriage, my sister, it is work. And I always say this, when it comes to marriage, it's just like you in a cottage on a high mountain and it's snow outside. And if you want the cabin to continue to be warm, you need to put log in the fire. The man need to put logs in the fire and the woman need to assist. Remember God's word said earlier in Genesis that God created the woman, where God created the woman to be a helpmeet to the man. God did not create a woman for the man to do everything for, and he did not create a woman for her to do everything for a man. A man and a woman when God brings you together, you are on what is called a team. It's you, brother, you, sister, and God is part of the team. God, Son, and Jesus is the foundation of a relationship. If you don't understand that God, Son, Jesus is the foundation of a relationship, He's the rock. You're building your house on sand. When I say sand, you're building your relationship on what other people say. You're building your relationship on stuff what you see on TV, records that you listen to, and all that other stuff. That's not real. The real relationship, my brother and sister, is when you want to know your role, duty, responsibility, and limit and your boundaries in a relationship. You got to go to God's word to understand what the role of a man is, what the role of a woman is, the man responsibility, the woman responsibility, the man duty, the woman's duty, the man boundaries, and the woman's boundary. And that's all in God's word. So you have to go to God to keep your relationship together. Now, a man and a woman, they have to willfully work on the relationship. When it comes to a relationship, my brother and sister, to cut down cheating, that's not no guarantee that no cheating is going to take place. And those of you brothers and sisters right now, let me inform you. Just because you get married, that's not no guarantee that your mate will not cheat. The only thing you could say, I hope that my mate don't cheat. And not only while you hoping that your mate don't cheat, you got to be accountable to the relationship too. You got to say to yourself, I don't want to cheat. Now, brother and sister, don't go by your willpower when it comes to cheating. Don't ever go by your willpower. For whatever man think he stand, take heed unless he fall. So don't think you strong, you Superman, brother and sister. Don't think you Superwoman that you can't fall. You can fall in relationship. So don't go into a relationship delusion. You have to work on your relationship, my brother and sister, but you got to include the Lord in it. You got to understand, my brother and sister, that you're not going to smile all the time in a relationship. You going to have some storms in a relationship. You're either going to be going into a storm, you're going to be in a storm, or you're coming out of a storm. That's part of relationship. When it comes to relationship, you're going to have some sunshiny days, and you're going to have some storms. You're not all your days in a relationship, you're not going to smile every day, brother and sister. You're gonna get angry at one another sometimes. You're gonna get disappointed at one another sometimes. You are. But you see, you got to stay on the ship. And you know what happened, my brother and sister? You know when your relationship really grows. Your relationship grows, my brother and sister, when adversity comes into the relationship. I know that no man or no woman want adversity to come into a relationship, but that's when your relationship start, when you really start growing into one another, because you start depending more on the Lord and you start depending more on your mate. For some reason, when everything is going good, you're okay. But when the ship starts shaking and you're going through those troubles and tribulations and stuff, that's the time, my brother and sister, when your relationship grows. Don't you know, my brother and sister, what a farmer does? A farmer plant a seed and the crop grows, but there's a thing that's called pruning. A farmer will prune his crop. And that what a relationship go through. Your relationship going to go through a period of pruning. And when your relationship go through a thing called pruning, that is the time your relationship is going to grow the most, my brother and sister. Just because God is in your relationship, my brother and sister, guess what? You still going to walk down the valley. God never promised you, brother and sister, that you're going to have a happy marriage. That was some of you brothers and sisters. You went into a relationship thinking you're going to have a happy marriage. God never promised you that everything going to go smooth. But he does promise you that he's going to be in the fire with you. He's going to be in the line then with you when it comes to a relationship. When you can't, you know what Jesus said at the Last Supper, my brother and sister? He told his disciple that in this world you're going to have tribulations. Tribulations happen when Jesus was talking to his disciples. That also, if you, brother, you still believe in the Lord Jesus, you are a disciple. So you're going to have tribulations in your life. In a relationship, you're going to have tribulation. But what Jesus said, but be of good cheer, I have overcome. Now, remember the question that I asked you all earlier? The question, first of all, question, does a man or a woman have to succumb to temptation? Does a man or a woman have to succumb to temptation? Let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians 10:13. Again, the book of 1 Corinthians 10:13. It said, no temptation have overtaken you except that which is common to mankind. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. So in any temptation you have, my brother, sister, but we specifically talking about cheating, you will get tempted, possibly, when it comes to that. But God is faithful. You don't have to do it. It's a choice. When it comes down to it, it's a choice. But when you're tempted, brother, if you're tempted with another woman, you don't have to do it because God will make a way out of it. Sister, when it comes to being tempted by another man, you don't have to do it. God will make a way out because it clearly said in 1 Corinthians 10:13, no temptation have overtaken you except what is common to man. So what I'm talking about tonight is common. That's why some of you brothers and sisters, when you find out that your preacher has stepped out or something like that, you get all bent out of shape. Why you get all bent out of shape? Because it said that no temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. Your preacher is not the first one to step out. He won't be the last. So why are you surprised if your preacher does it? If your preacher does what you're supposed to do, my brother and sister, is help to restore him. Because take heed that you don't fall. And like I said, don't ever think you Superman or Superwoman, my brother and sister. But remember the earlier question that I asked earlier, my brother and sister. The question that I asked earlier at the dinner table, I said, who cheats the most, men or women? What you think, my brother and sister? Who do you think cheat the most? Do you think men or women? What do you think? I got an answer for you. I did some research on this, and I got something that may surprise some of you. Who do you think cheat the most, men or women? What you think? You all scared the cat got your tongue, per se? Who do you think cheat the most, men or women? When it comes to a relationship, when a man and woman is serious, committed, and in a covenant relationship, from God's position. That's what I'm talking about, from God's position. A married man, a married woman, who do you think cheat the most? I'm going to tell you the answer to the question. After doing some research, my brother, after doing some research, my sister, according to an article on August the 23rd of 20 last year from the New York Post by Sarah Marino, scientists is finding that, believe this or not, it says scientists is finding that women struggle more than men when it comes to staying faithful in a relationship. Can you believe that? You see, most of the time we hear that men's are dogs. We hear that men always cheat. Men cheat. They dog. But this is a lady that did the research. This lady did the research in this article in the New York Post, August the 23rd of last year, 2022. Her name is Sarah Marinos. That's Marinos. She put in there, scientists is finding that women struggle more than men when it comes to staying faithful in a relationship. This is the research. Well, you know, we all been growing up listen, that men cheat, men cheat, men cheat. But for a man to cheat, he normally, a heterosexual man, he normally cheating with a woman. And normally if a heterosexual woman cheating, she cheating with a man. But it states that women struggle more staying faithful. So I know myself growing up, as the community would say, women, women is more faithful in a relationship with men. That's what the street committee say. But research says something there. Also, the view is that mostly men who cheat because their partner lose interest in sex is outdated. Scientists say that it is actually women who struggle more with monogamy because they're bored. Wow. I'm not saying this. This is what the research said. Scientists say that it's actually women who struggle most with monogamy because they get bored. And let me tell you something, the prevailing thing, my brother and sister, from me doing my personal research, most of the time, when men step out on their wives, a lot of time when men step on their wives, a lot of time it's physical. That's right. A lot of men, they could step out on their wives, where they decide to step on their wife, and in their mind, they're thinking, I'm going to do this with this woman or this woman and this woman, and I'm not going to get attached to her. So it's basically a physical thing. That's how a lot of men think. Now, a lot of women think that when they go out and step out on their husband, a lot of women per se do it because of the emotions. So a lot of time men supposedly go out to cheat when it comes because physical, and women go out to cheat because emotions. But cheating is cheating, my brother and sister, no matter how you cut it, no matter what it is. Whenever you step out of a bona fide relationship between a man and a woman, it's actually called adultery. And Jesus said himself that adultery does, you see, most men and women think adultery happened when a man and woman, they be physical with someone else. But that's not all the certain truth. Jesus said that if a man look upon a woman, that's a plane. Hold on for a moment. It's a plane that's going over. You hear that plane? Jesus said when a man look upon a woman and lust after her, he has already committed adultery with her in his heart. In order for a man to commit adultery with another woman, he have to be married. And the same thing for a woman. If she look at a man and lust after him, the same thing apply. So adultery, my brother and sister, it take place in the mind and the heart first before it is physically played out. I hope you brothers and sisters got something out of it. You don't have to do this, my brothers. You don't have to do this, my sister. That's why, my brother and sister, at the beginning of a relationship, make sure, brother, that you pray to the Lord to help you to find the right woman. Sister, pray to the Lord that he calls the right man to find you. Once the Lord bring you together, make sure you have good communication. Good communication is a byproduct of your relationship with God. After you have good communication, my brother and sister, spend a lot of quality time together. Spend individual time with your relationship with the Lord, and spend a lot of quality time with your mate, my brother and sister. It's very vital that you talk, and it's very vital that you spend a lot of quality time with one another. My brother and sister, don't forget to be physically intimate with someone. There's nothing wrong with being physically intimate with your husband and wife. As a matter of fact, that's where God put sex in the confinements of a marriage. So, my brother, don't play games with your wife when she wants to be touched by you sexually. And the same thing, sister, don't play game with your husband, because Paul addressed that. Remember in Corinthians, Paul said, defraud ye not. He told the woman Don't defraud your husband because your body is his. And he said the same thing to the man. Don't defraud your wife because your body is not yours, it's hers. And the only reason you should refrain from it is like you praying to the Lord. But don't play game because of your inconsistency. That's when Satan come in at. If you, brother and sister, have a good relationship with the Lord, and you know your roles, duty, responsibility, and boundaries in a relationship, your communication is going to be wonderful. Your time together, you're going to look forward to doing it. Your physical intimacy is going to be on point. That will cause you not to get bored in your relationship. You will always be finding new things to enhance your relationship. That you won't have that missing void because you have the Lord in your life, and then you have that person that God brought into your life. So you're not going to have no empty void. And then that will help you to stop seeking the company of another man or a woman. I hope, my brother, and I hope, my sister, that you enjoyed this dinner for tonight. I really hope that you got something out of it. I love you, brothers. I love you, sister. Go ahead and share this meal with some more brothers and sisters and some friends. You could take the care out with you. I clean up the kitchen. And I want you all to go. And I hope that you got something out of this tonight. I love you, brothers. I love you, sister. If you have any questions right now before I depart, just put the word wait down there. I'll wait to address any question that you have that you want to ask. All you have to do is put the word wait down there, and I answer your question, okay? If you don't have any question, we're going to depart right now, okay? Those of you that are on the tube, if this is your first time being at the dinner table, subscribe. Those of you that are on the book, if you want to make a comment and share, go ahead and do it. I appreciate you, brother, and I appreciate you, sister, for making time to come to the dinner table, okay? I really appreciate it because you could have been doing something else with your time. I love you, brothers. I love you, sisters, and I hope that you all have a good night. Peace out.